Welcome to Choices with Jeanette. I'm Jeanette Harris, and thank you all so much for watching Choices with Jeanette. I'm over at the Ensemble Theatre, and I'm here with Elizabeth VanDyke. You haven't been here in a while since the quilts were here.
Right, earlier last year, the beginning of last year, and we began 2012 with another dynamic production, The Ballad of Emmett Till.
I'm here with Robert Ross. Now, give me a little bit of the history on this play.
Well, The Ballad of Emmett Till was written by Ifa Baeza, she is sisters to Ntozake Shange, who received a lot of notoriety here recently with Tyler Perry's interpretation of her play for colored girls. But it's my understanding that they did the reading at the Goodman Theater in Chicago, and from there they've staged it once in LA, but we are the first theater in the South to stage this production.
But you all are doing a collaboration with?
This is the first time collaboration with the Houston Museum of African American Culture and the Ensemble Theatre coming together to present The Ballad of Emmett Till.
I am so looking forward to coming.
This is going to be a really great show, and although, the true-to-life story was a very tragic event, the perspective that's being taken with this production is not as downtrodden as some people might expect. So I would certainly encourage people not to let the facts of the true story deter them from coming out and experiencing this production.
I really did. I asked them, could I come and do this interview with you, because I'm from Clarksville, Mississippi. My father was the first black disc jockey in the South and the second in the United States. So Clarksville, Mississippi, all of this is very touching to me.
Wow, that's amazing. What a history you have.
Why would you say that people need to make sure that they come to this play?
I think the ensemble tells our stories from our own perspectives, rooted in our truth. I think it's always good to know our history, know where we've come, and that informs where we're going. I think the resiliency of our people always uplifts and inspires, and I think that's a reason to see it.
Now, that story is about a young man that left Chicago, came to Mississippi, and was killed. You want to tell a little bit about the story for those who don't understand it?
Well, Emmett Till was murdered in Money, Mississippi in 1955. He was 14 years old. He went there for 1 week to spend a week with his great uncle. And they say he whistled at a white woman. And for that, they came and kidnapped him out of the house. And he was never seen again until he was pulled up out of the Tallahatchie River. And that is the story, part of the historical facts of Emmett Till. However, in the Ballad of Emmett Till, we tell about the life of a 14-year-old from Chicago, an only child, full of youth and hope, a man-child, a lot of things that you don't see, that you don't know, and we take you through that life, not just the historical documentary of the murder and kidnapping.
This play should change your life. I know the life of Emmett Till changed our history.
Yes, it did. It was, for many, the beginning of the civil rights movement. This happened in August, late August, early September. In December, Rosa Parks refused to move on the bus because she thought of Emmett Till. Fannie Lou Hamer, she was registering to vote, and when she saw one of the sheriffs was the brother of one of the kidnappers of Emmett Till, she decided that day she was going to jail, and she was beaten and jailed. December 4th, Martin Luther King led the Montgomery bus boycott. So it informs. Still, you were talking about you're from Clarksville, and there are people who it has informed who they are and what they're about and what they stand for. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I'm here with Jennifer Omar, and in just a general casual conversation. We were talking about the Ballad of Emmett Till that will be at the Ensemble Theatre. And we were talking about how the parent must have felt. And lo and behold, Jennifer knew her. So, Jennifer, how did you meet her?
It was the summer of 1985. I was on a flight from Chicago to New York City, which is where I was living at the time. And just by chance, I happened to be sitting next to a woman that I believe is one of our country's national treasures. It was the mother of Emmett Till. Her name is Mamie Till Mobley. And at first we just exchanged pleasantries. How are you? Is New York your home? And I told her I'd been living there for a couple of years. She's from Chicago. Emmett Till was born and raised in Chicago. And she started telling me that the reason for her trip to New York City was that she was scheduled to be interviewed by Bryant Gumbel of the Today Show. And she was commemorating the 30th year anniversary of her son's horrendous murder. And after I realized who she was, I looked at her and I said, I remember this face. She had this beautiful face that I remember seeing in the magazines. She looked a lot like her son, Emmett. And I don't remember our full conversation because it was almost 30 years ago. But I just remember leaving with the impression that she was a very strong, stoic individual, that she, like I say, she's one of our national treasures. She made the decision after the death of her son in such a horrendous way. I believe they found his body in the Tallahatchie River in 1955. And she made the decision, I want my son to have an open casket. I want the journalists there. I want the newspapers there. I want the world to see what they've done to my baby.
But she's also done a lot of things for other youth.
Yes, it turns out that Miss Mamie Till Mobley just continued the civil rights struggle. She was very instrumental. She had all types of youth organizations. She had an acting troupe. She traveled the country and spoke to the country about the events of 1955. And she just was a very strong woman. I mean, how many families, after losing someone, first of all, we have a tendency, we want that person, that deceased person, to look like they were asleep. You know, we don't want any flaws. But this woman had the strength and courage to let her child be photographed. It was just horrendous, and I remember those photos as a kid, just how they affected me. And again, so she was a very strong woman, and she worked until her death in 2003 to work for the civil rights struggle.
Well, I took it as a point of destiny for you to know her and for me to be doing this particular piece for the ensemble. And I just want to thank you for allowing us to interview you on meeting her.
Well, it's a day I'll never forget. And I did follow her movement after that. And she was, as I say, a national treasure. She passed away since then. But we'll never forget the story of Emmett Till. And it's very important that we never forget that we teach our children and that we keep his memory alive. I believe her statement was, if it can happen to my baby, it can happen to you. And that's something that we never want to happen again.
Absolutely. And the oppression in Mississippi was a little bit heavier than it was in the state of Texas. We're here in Houston, Texas, but the oppression was heavier. And when it's heavy on you like that, you have to do something about it.
Yes, yes. I can only imagine what it's like, and that's one of the challenges of the play, that young people today can only imagine. You can't even think of that if you saw a white person walking down the sidewalk, you'd have to get off the street, or you couldn't look at a white person, and you would get killed for whistling.
If he whistled.
If he did indeed whistle. They say he stuttered, and sometimes he would whistle to get out of stuttering. So you can't even imagine those things are unimaginable. And yet we live through them, and still we rise, as Maya Angelou says, and we rise out of all those kind of oppressive situations, you know.
I think that the message was, when they killed him, was stay in your place.
Yes, that's another historical, that we had a place, that we weren't even considered human beings, that we had a place, and that you were out of your place, which is, again, unimaginable.
I'm looking at the cast and it's looking pretty young, so that's good. Who are some of the people in the cast?
Rachel Hemphill, who does a lot of plays here, Lee Waddell, KB, Broad J. Those are some of the people in the cast.
Wow.
And of course, we have Joe, who is playing Emmett Till.
And you're directing.
Yes, I'm directing.
We want you to come.
And see the Ballad of Emmett Till at the Ensemble Theatre in Houston, Texas. You'll be happy you did.
And your life will never be the same. So the nights and that it will be in performance and the days that it'll be in performance are...
Well, the show officially opens on February 2nd and runs until February 26th. The shows run Thursday through Sunday each week. You can purchase your tickets at ensemblehouston.com, or you can call us at 713-520-0055.
Please come and see the Ballad of Emmett Till. You'll be inspired, uplifted, informed, and I think you'll be proud.